Yeah, the two new Black Templar models are finally here, and we've got both of them. We've got the Crusade Ancient and the model we're going to do in this video, the Execrator, and I can't wait to get stuck in. I'm so excited. So much so that I've already started opening the box, but then I realised, oh no, wait, I need to film an intro. Hold on, wait. So yeah, in this video we're going to unbox the Execrator, build them up start to finish, and paint the whole thing. Before we get stuck in though, just two things actually. This is actually going to be the first video in a series, so I've decided it's finally time to actually build up an army, you know. Half because I've already got the beginnings of it with the combat patrol back there. Like, I think I've got like 300 or so points with that box. And also, like, some of my friends have actually been playing it on the weekends, like games of like 1K games. So I thought, you know what, with the release of these two models and the new combat patrol that I've ordered, I'll have almost about 1,000 points anyway. So I thought it'd be fun for this video to be the first in a series of just me building up to 1,000 points. And also, another thing to reflect on the videos before we get started is I think in the past video or two, I realised I kind of lost purpose of painting, if that makes sense. I felt like with the Wolfguard Battle Leader and Wolf Priest, I felt like I was just kind of doing them for the sake of them. And one thing I always wanted with this channel was it to be like my journey learning and getting better and stuff, and also like me trying out new things and practicing techniques and whatnot. And I feel like the last two videos I kind of didn't really do that. So one thing I want to do with this video as well and this model is kind of get some purpose back in my painting. So one thing I really want to focus on with this model, as well as obviously making it look really cool and play with new shiny toys, is I want to focus on cloth details. So I've got some new dry brushes here actually. I've got some cool like army painted dry brushes. So I'm keen to try and use these to improve on dry brushing and also cape depth, I think, because my last two models had capes and they were quite flat and quite detailless, and I kind of want to work on getting that volume and those highlights, and I think the dry brushes would be a cool thing to try out as well alongside it. Yeah, I'm just keen to get some like focus back in my painting and like objectives for each model. So with all that in mind, without further ado, let's get stuck into the brand new Execrator. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, let's get all this stuff. I've not even seen what's in it. I've not watched any unboxing videos or anything. I'm kind of excited to see what the building guide is going to be like, because I'm just used to these big army box and combat patrol books. Oh, here we go. Oh, look at that. One little sprue, and man, that's quite a chunky base actually. Oh, look at all these pieces. Look at them all. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the big oh my god, look at that. Oh, that is a chunky piece of the massive armor and the huge like staff. Oh wow, there's some stuff on here. Oh, like the little book as well, nice little piece of detail. Yeah. Oh, this is already living up to the hype. And then let's see what else is in there. Is it just the book? Oh, look at this. There's some teeny tiny little book. So light. That's quite cool. I like that. Cool. So let's make a start with, I guess we can do 1 through till 6, because that builds all of the upper body. So we've got 1 to 4 is the legs, and then 5 and 6 is the body and a shin. Cool. Let's get started, shall we? Oh my god, look at that guy. Yeah, I love this jumping pose. This is so cool. And he's just beefy as well. Look at that massive stick. It's obviously going to have some heraldry at the top and whatnot. So that's the cool leaping body sword. What's coming up next? I think we start to, yeah, we get to pick some stuff. So we get to pick from either the gun or the sword. And let's be honest, who's picking the gun? I want this massive like melee hammer thing and a sword as well. So it's 10 and 11 for the sword going across his chest. And then also I need to pick a headpiece. Like I think I prefer like the big square blunt to contrast the sharp sword, but number 14, the wing thing looks a little bit easier to paint. Let's not take the easy route out. I do want that. Like I mentioned, I like the idea of this big square contrasting the long, sharp, stabby sword. Let's build up the sword and leave that off just because it's going to be sub-assembled, and then also glue on this 13. Actually, we can clip off the shoulders and the head as well, because there's no choice for the shoulders, and the book says there's a choice for the head, but I mean, I want that cool, massive, like, box art skull. Like, I don't want no human head on this. Like, this looks cool, but this is just on a whole other level of coolness. Sweet, so we've got all of our little trinkets over here, the shoulder pads and stuff that I'm just going to leave off the sub-assembly, especially like this sword, because yeah, look, it covers half the chest. So we'll leave all these off for now. All we've got left to do before we can temporarily construct him with blue tack is the backpack. So I get to choose well, we've got the normal backpack and then the trophy to pick from, either the round thing or this cross with ribbons. And I want the cross with ribbons just because I like the idea of these like ribbons flowing in the air. That adds like his motion of him running, you know. Oh my god, look at him. Yeah, this is living up to all the hype. Oh my god, what a cool looking model. Yeah, look at that from that angle, like the motion of him just like leaping off the rock, the tubes blades, like the motion, the big melee weapons. Oh, unreal. So let's do what we always do with the Black Templar, is we're gonna slap on one coat of Chaos Black, and then we're gonna take some, not matte white, that's the Space Wolf colour. There we go. We're gonna take some Ghoul Grey and do like a Xenophil cone. Yeah, let's just go outside and give him a prime and then come back and just get to the fun stuff. Oh, and there he is, primed out of his mind. Look at that. So I guess what we can do is, while we're taking apart, because this is all blue tacked together, it's not actually fully built. Look at that. We can just go over the plan for painting the first couple of stages. So for the armor panels, we're just going to do what we always do, which is some Black Templar, some Black Templar contrast. Just on all the armor panels, like the chest, the arms, probably the legs and the shin guards. But when it comes to the highlighting, I want to do something a little bit different. So in the past, I've just used rust grey and like kind of dry brushed. Yeah, I've used this old horrible makeup brush like with rust grey, and that kind of gets this sort of highlighting look here. It's a bit subtle, like just some like light tints of rust grey. However, since I established that recipe, I've actually brought and been using Dark Reaper and Thunderhawk blue to highlight my blacks. So we've got Dark Reaper for like a chunky highlight, then Thunderhawk for the edge highlights. So yeah, I've been using that for my blacks recently. So I've actually tried it out on a intercessor somewhere. Yeah, I was playing around with this guy off camera, and yeah, so this guy I used the Dark Reaper and Thunderhawk in like some conjunctions, and do you know what? I'm a big fan of how this has turned out. So we're going to try that on this Execrator. So, like I mentioned, let's make a start and slap Black Templar contrast over all of these armor panels. Oh, right, so that's all of the base layer Black Templar contrast done, and I was going to go straight into the highlights, but man, that took me ages. Wow, I was really taking my time there, and it's so funny because like I always say to people, like, just paint. Like if you're nervous or you want to try something new or whatever, just pick it up. Just paint it. You know, it's not that deep. At the end of the day, if it's bad, it's okay. But I was really nervous from doing this. Like I was almost a bit too nervous to start. I was like really nervous as that first brush, and yeah, I think actually because it's such an amazing looking model. Like it's probably one of the coolest models I own, looks wise. I really want to do it justice. There's all the base of black done, looking really nice and clean and smooth. So let's move on to the highlights, like we mentioned. So I'm going to load up this brush. This one, yeah, this is like a medium-sized brush. I'm going to load this up with Dark Reaper. So yeah, we've got a Dark Reaper here, and then we'll just grab the dry brush, and I'm a bit nervous. I've got that new brush fear that I'm just worried I'm going to ruin them. Just got to load it up, and then we'll just try and work it into the brush on this thing. Cool, so that's all loaded up on the brush. Let's see if we can try and get some Dark Reaper highlights. Cool, so there's 2 sets of dry brushing of Dark Reaper. So I did do one sort of like once over, I did some dry brushing, and I thought it wasn't really that prominent and I couldn't really see it that well, so I gave it another once over, mostly for the shoulder pad and some other sections, but it's looking okay now. One thing with this dry brushing is it's really cool when it works. Like when it comes off it looks great and amazing. But I feel like the brush runs out of paint really quickly. Like I feel like I load it up and I like do this section, and then like by the time I get around here I'm like nothing's coming off and I'm having to like reload the brush, do this, reload the brush, do that. I don't know if like, am I not loading enough? Am I putting too much on? Or like, you know what, I'm trying to find that nice middle ground. I don't know what's right or wrong, so if anyone's got any tips for dry brushing, let me know. But no, that's the Dark Reaper. So I think before I put on the edge highlights of Thunderhawk Blue, I want to just put a layer of Nuln oil over the armour. Just helps kind of bring in some of the dry brushing highlights a little bit, and then also like sort of recessed shades as well at the same time. Right, there's all the highlights done on all the armour, and it's looking interesting. Not sure. I mean, it's always hard to tell when it's just like the armour because it kind of fades into it. I feel like once you put all the colour and everything on, it kind of makes them stand out more. Yeah, I think still rooms to improve, especially with dry brushing overall. I think I could get a better result, but considering it's the first like or second time I've used these dry brushes, they're kind of okay. Not too bad starting point. I'm keen to get better with these because I do like the dry brushing look. But anyway, moving on from the highlights, I don't even know where to go. I guess we can just start putting all of the colours down. I'll tell you what, we'll just do, because we just spent a whole lot of time, like loads on this sort of like torso, armour highlight. We can put this to one side just for now. We'll do the backpack and the shoulders. So we'll just do this tassel, the trophy, and some of the insignias, and then we'll come back to the armour next and do the tabard. So, put you to one side. What's this need to be? I believe these crosses just need to be white. There's some bolts up here that will be, I think, silver. Cool, so let's just do those, and then we can move on to do the backpack afterwards. There we go, a nice little quick win with the shoulder pads, and you know what, I'm really happy with these, you know, they're super clean. Like if you just look at them at a glance, it's like the definition of the cross is really well, there's no like overlap or spillage. There was a little bit of spillage on the bolts at the top, but I went around with like a size 00 and just like tidied up with some Black Templar. So moving on from that, we're just going to quickly, in the vein of quick little wins, I say quick little wins, actually I feel like this might be a bit more of a chunkier investment, but the backpack. So the base layer and the highlights are all done, that's looking okay. Need to do some silver on these exhausts and this rim and all the bolts, and then for this trophy I think it's just, yeah, it's all just gold. Look at that. So the trophy is completely gold, and then the tassels will be mephiston red, and then so we'll put all the base layers down, then we'll come back for some highlights and some shades and all the extra fun details. Cool, so that's all of the base colours, the silvers, the golds and the reds. I like that. Again, the combination of that black, silver, gold and red, it feels very like Black Templar, and I love the way it looks, it's so cool. So I also put some washes on. I'm still on the Reichland Flesh Shade hype for gold. I like that red tint to it. And I used some watered down Agrax shade for the parchment, just to sort of darken it down. And I will say I'm keen to get a different shade other than Agrax, because my only concern with Agrax is like it goes really dark and really grimy. Like it's almost like just putting brown paint over sometimes, like it's proper dark. So if anyone knows of any similar shades, so like darken them down a little bit, but a little bit brighter, I'd be keen for that. I've heard of, I think it's Seraphim Sepia, I think people have mentioned for bone, so I might look into that. But if there's any better ones for like cloth, because yeah, I want to darken down those recesses, but even like watered down, it's actually not too bad that it's been watered down. But if you don't do that and you just slap it straight on, it goes like almost like brown. It's so dark. Now for the fun part and the exciting thing, we get to bust out these new dry brushes again. So this is the smaller one, and what I want to do is I want to dry brush some highlights on. So that is the backpack and the shoulders done, and yeah, like I mentioned, I'm really happy with these shoulders, like how clean and tidy they are. The backpack though, I'm not too sure. So the colour's great, really happy with them. It's just the dry brushing is a bit of a funny one. So with the red, I wasn't 100% sure like it even made any difference. Like I put it on, I was like, I don't know if I put enough on, I can't really tell. And then with the gold, I instantly was like, oh, this is too much. Like I did one brush and it was like instantly like loads brighter. So I might come back to that and just dial it down a little bit with some Retributor. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes what the before and after looks like if there's any difference. So I think what I've actually done for the first time is I stopped painting, I uploaded all the footage onto the editing software, and I'm actually going through and I'm looking to see like the before and after. What I'll do is I'll put up the pictures, I can put them here like a before and after so we can look at them together. Because I thought, why do I not take advantage of the fact that I record the entire process, like every paint stroke, every stage is recorded, so like I should kind of use it to improve, because this is the one thing I wanted to focus on most this video was like dry brushing and like highlights. So hopefully when we move on to the cloth for his like tabard, which is going to be red, hopefully we can get a nice sweet spot there, because we've done both sides of the spectrum so far, so maybe we can get in the middle. But overall it's okay. Like I am quite happy with it now that I've added the edge highlights of Evil Sons and a couple spot highlights of Trollslayer Orange. I guess now that we've done two little things and like little quick fun wins, we can actually move back onto the big bulk of the main boy, this torso. So I'm going to do this next. I'm going to do the tabard, the belt, the bones. I'm going to leave the weapon for now. Just going to do, yeah, these main tabard things. So let's get stuck into the meat of this. Here he is, the torso. And I think what I'm going to start off with is that red tabard, because I'm just really keen to get a good look for it. Plus also I'm going to be doing some like dry brushing with it, and I'm worried if I paint the belt and I start like dry brushing, I'll get red on the belt itself. So we'll start with there. So what I'm going to do with it is, it might sound a bit strange, I'm actually going to try two different approaches for the banner as a whole. So for the bottom half I'm going to do one thing, and then this top bit here I'm going to try another, just to see which one I prefer, and also just to try out new things. But before we go into the two different things we're going to do, corn red for the tabard, and then I'm also going to put a layer of Nuln oil over the top just to darken it down and shade in those recesses. So there's a lovely nice base layer of corn red with some Nuln oil over the top, and I mean, it's already looking pretty like nice and full. So moving on to the two sections, I mentioned I want to do two different things. They're not massively different. Basically with the bottom half and the back, I just want to try some like dry brushing. And the top half, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do Mephiston, Evil Sons, and maybe even a little spots of Troll Slayer. But just do it with the brush. I'll basically just be going in and like manually kind of just picking out the areas, manually like just applying the brush rather than just getting a dry brush in. So they're pretty similar. What I should probably do is actually show you how I load the dry brush, and you can tell me how wrong it is and what I need to do instead. It's the best way to learn. So I mean, I did try putting it on the wet palette, and I've tried taking it out of the pot directly. I'm not really sure which is best. Dab it in a bit here, like load up the brush with some, and then just work it in. So that's nice and worked in. I guess I can test it out on the hand. Oh my god, look at that! That looks so much better! Oh wow, I don't know how much it's going to come up because it's quite tucked away. It looks really good. You can see like, well I can, the highlights in like this section here, running up some Mephiston red. It's kind of hard to get into the gap down here, but I mean that would be darker, so that makes sense. The one thing has happened that I was worried about, and I don't know how to avoid it, is just here on the knee, some of the dry brushing has come off onto that section. That's right, I'll just reapply some of the black and the Thunderhawk blue. Oh wow, yeah, I'm really happy with that. I absolutely love how it's turned out, especially on the front. It's kind of hard to see because of the angle and the light. Yeah, it looks really good, especially if you compare it to the top of the corn red and Nuln oil. There's definitely some like depth to it, like the raised area is a lot brighter, the divots are darker, it's really good. So yeah, next we'll do the top half, and like I mentioned, we'll just do everything we just did down there, like the layering of the different reds, but just with the brush. So I'll just literally paint like Mephiston red probably like all here, and yeah, just kind of like try and manually do it ourselves with the normal brush rather than like a dry brush. Just because I'll give it a try and see what it looks like, see if it's any better or worse than the dry brushing technique. That's okay. I'm not a massive fan of this top one. I think I definitely prefer the dry brushing approach, and if I could go back in time, I'd just dry brush this. My issue with this sort of like doing it yourself is I feel like the lines are really thick and you can really just actually see, like, I don't know if it's coming up on camera or maybe it's because I'm so close to it, but I can just see the separation between the colours. It doesn't really blend, whereas this feels a lot more natural. So I definitely think the dry brushing is the winner in this situation, but this is okay. Like, it is a lot brighter than the bottom half, but that would kind of make sense because if you look from the side, it's like sticking out so it'd get the light, whereas this bottom section is tucked away. Well, looking okay. I'm glad I tried it, and I do think it's better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, from a distance, like if I hold it off camera really far away at a glance, it's okay. So now we can move on to the rest of it. So we just got, for this torso section, the bones here need to be skeleton horde, I think I'm going to make them. And then the belt is going to be Rhinox hide, and I'll highlight it with some Mournfang, I think. And then we can move on to something else, I think. Yeah, it's just the belt and the bones. I also actually just noticed there's some armour ribbons here. Yeah, just here there's some like ribbons in the armour that I forgot to paint, so I'll just fill them in with some back here. Probably like Mechanica standard contrast, I think. So you might be wondering why we've jumped straight to the finished product and not the actual painting. That's because I did it all. I kind of changed my mind, you know. I don't know if I like the skeleton horde and Rhinox hide for the bone and the brown. Like, it's already quite a dark model with a dark tabard and black armour, so I feel like those like other little details should kind of be a bit brighter to accentuate it. So, like for example, I've got this Crusader here. I think his belt is Mournfang brown with Agrax Surfshade over the top, and I might just do that, you know, and then re-highlight it with some Mournfang. And the same with the bone. What I think I might do instead is similar to what I did with this shield, which is just Wraith Bone and then some watered down Agrax Surfshade, just to give it some depth. Oh, there we go, looking much better. Still like quite dark to be fair after the Earthshade, the belt specifically. Although I don't know if that's the lighting in my office, but the bones are a lot nicer. I definitely prefer the Wraith bone with this sort of watered down Agrax Earthshade over the top. Looks nice against the red. I've also put some silver, or Leadbelcher, sorry, on the bolts on his chest, some down on his knee, and the side. I think it adds quite a bit, you know. There's one final thing left on the front, that's his shin pad. It's just literally just gold around this frame, and that's it, nothing else. So just quickly fill that in, and then we can move on to something else. There we go, the whole torso done. Look at that, those cool little details. I absolutely love this. Man, this is really good. Yeah. I can't get over how much these studs on the chest and like the knees really like added to the model and the volume as a whole. Couldn't be happy with this model so far. Like, it's so cool. I'm really happy I went back to the bone and the belt as well. Made them a little bit lighter. Proper adds a lot to it. Makes it look better. I did go over the bones a teeny tiny bit with some more Wraith bone just to kind of highlight those raised areas, but it was kind of an impulsive spur of the moment that I didn't really record. But no, looking really good. The thing on his knee's kind of okay. Just a bit like golden bone. It's not really much to it, like, but it's a cool little detail just to add to like what's going on, like loads of imagery, and just makes it feel more alive, yeah? More rather than like plain armor. That's good. So not much left now actually. Just gonna move on to the big hammer thing next, which is just gonna be barrel red for the hammer, silver for the chains, and then some gold. It's nice and simple, 3 colours. And then after that we can move on to the sword and the head, and that's pretty much it. Sweet, some all the base colours applied, looking real nice, like the gold and the silver. I went for Balthazar just on the tip and the little frame up there, just for some variance, just for a little bit of like difference, so it's not just the same gold all over. So we're just going to slap Agrax Earthshade on that Balthazar and red, and then we'll put some Nuln oil on everything else. Well, I say everything, it's the silver and the gold. And then after that we can hopefully see if we can have more luck dry brushing some Liberator armour onto this gold at the top than we did earlier. Oh, there we go. All of the shades and the highlights. Looking pretty good. I like it a lot, you know. One thing I will say though, it was terrifying, like applying dry brushing it, because when I was applying pressure, because it's such like a small flimsy thing far away from the body, I felt like it was going to snap, you know. I was like kind of trying to put a little bit of pressure on it to get in there. And I was like, oh my god, this is going to break, which is why like my finger was behind it half the time. Kind of scary. But all in all, absolutely in love with this. It's so good. It looks incredible so far. Oh my god, it's unreal. Nice and quick and simple as well, to be fair. It wasn't too much effort. There's only 2 bits left before we start basing it and finishing it up, and that is the sword and the head. So we'll leave the head for last. We've got this sword. Now, there's not much to the sword in terms of like what's going on in the model. It's just a blade, a hilt, and some chains. So we'll do the chain silver like we did before. The hilt handguard will be gold, a Retributor. And then for the blade, if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know I absolutely love this molten, flaming, red hot sword effect that we've done before in the past. So obviously I'm going to do it again for this guy. Yes, I did this like molten hot burning sword effect on the Marshal, and I just love it. I think it's so cool. And I thought, you know what, it's quite literally the same sword, like almost the same. Tiny little details that are different, but for the most part, it'll be the same. So I thought it'd be really cool if just across all my Templar, any big sword, plain swords like this will be like this molten effect. It'd be kind of cool. So we're going to do that as well. So what we'll do is we'll chuck on all the base layers, and then we'll go through how we get that effect. Sweet, so there's all the base colours, washes and the highlights, to be fair. You know, I was just going to do the base colours, but there wasn't actually that much like surface tech wise, so I thought, you know, I'll chuck on the shades and the highlights as well. So yeah, now we can move on to the like a molten sword effect. So the way this works, if you've not seen it before, we start with some Troll Slayer's orange. Basically, we'll mix this down to be a really thin, like watery glaze. So it's almost like, yeah, like a glaze, like a wash, really thin. And we'll just apply like a layer of it on the sword. Not from the tippity top, but a little bit further down, all the way down to the bottom. And then we'll keep doing like layer after layer, like honestly about 6, 7, maybe even 8 layers of this like real thin glaze. Then each time we'll just like start a little bit lower. So there should be some kind of like transition from the red to the orange. That go all the way down. And then after that, what we'll do is we'll grab some, well actually, so no, we'll take the original Troll Slayer and we'll add like a little bit of yellow to it. And then we'll do the same, like 1 or 2 little glazes, and then add a little bit more yellow to the orange, add a little bit more of a glaze. And just so we have this nice like orangey yellow mix. And what I should do is have like a nice orange glow to the blade, and then like a bit of a yellowy orange in the middle, almost like a transition of heat. You know, like the closer you get to the center, the lighter yellow it gets. Alright, I will say this is always the hardest part for me, trying to like sort of balance the yellows and the oranges, like a slow gradient build up, and yeah, it's not looking too great. Like it's kind of okay, like at a glance you can kind of see what it's doing. It's just when I get real close I can kind of see those separations between the colours. I know it's never good to compare yourself to like the professionals like Duncan of all people, because he's like one of the best, but it's just always so funny, like when I like you look at my sword, it's like, okay, it kind of looks kind of alright and kind of cool, then you look up to Duncan's just like, I feel like I do this every time, but you'd look up to Duncan's like masterpiece of just smooth, like almost like perfect and smooth, and then just this poor thing down here. Like I said, I know you should never compare yourself to these types of people because they've been doing it forever, but I always just think it's funny. Right, so what's next? The power node, there we go. So yeah, so I think the next thing to do is to so the power node is a source of heat, so what we're going to do is paint that yellow with a mix of white. So basically we're going to take this yellow here, in fact we can make the mix now. So we'll just get a little spot of yellow just here, and then we can mix in some white into it, so it makes sort of like a brighter yellow, and then we'll do a little bit of white just over the top to give the look that the power node is like so hot, it's like white hot, because that's where the energy is coming from, all the power. So next up is actually the final part. Is sort of add some cooler sections and some sort of like chipping. So what we'll do is we'll mix some Rhinoxide with some Evil Suns to make like a dark brownish red, and we'll just add some chippings around the edge of the blade. So like grab a brush like this, it's kind of like all down here, a little bit down the middle, almost like the blade is like so hot it's kind of like chipped, and there's like some cool sections coming through. And it kind of like rounds off and like frames it almost. It's kind of like an edge highlight essentially. And there it is. All the little chip-ins and the framing of it done. I do think I've put a little bit too much chip-ins on, I'm not too sure. So we can take not only this, but also the hordes of paint that I've been using alongside it, and put this to one side of the backpack and the shoulders, and the main torso, because we're almost done. There's not that much left, so it's just the head, which I'm going to do next, which I think is just like a lot of skulls. I'm just going to grab the box. Yeah, it's all just like wraith bone for the entire headpiece, and then he's got some like vents either side that are going to be the Leadbelcher, and he's got some studs. So yeah, we'll do the skull, wraith bone, and then apply some light Execrator shade, and then everything else will be Leadbelcher, I believe. Oh, okay, so there's all of the colours and some shades. So we've just done Wraithbone and then a watered down Execrator shade. Put the bolts in the face, some of the silver and the black. I haven't put Nuln oil on any of this stuff yet. I'm going to do that in a sec. I want to tackle my favourite part of every model, the eyes. I love doing eyes, it's my favourite part. I look forward to it most when painting models. Oh boy, I say that I'm sarcastically joking. I actually don't mind it, to be fair. I feel like I've gotten better. We've got a size 00. I think we're going to do we'll do Evil Suns just because I actually like the glow. Oh, yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, that is super zoom, so let's actually zoom out to normal levels. There we go, look at that. It's a nice red glow on the face. I know there's lots of things you can do with like highlighting eyes, with like getting real close in, like little specks of white and stuff and whatnot, but I think I'm just going to take the win here because like, I feel like I'm going to mess this up more and I like how it looks. And I think this is something, eyes, that I do want to focus on, but maybe in another video. So we'll just stick with the nice little win here of the eyes. Awesome. So let's move on to these things. So that's it, that's all of the little ribbons, the leather, and this little ribbon on his side. Although I've just realised I haven't put any washes on that, so I'll chuck some Nuln oil and that'll be done. The last thing, and I didn't even consider this, but this shield needs to be freehand. I was looking for a transfer that would fit, but I couldn't find any, and all the tutorials I've watched, everyone just does it freehand. So it's this like yellow grid on the top half and a Templar seal on the bottom. I've never done a freehand to this extent before. Like, but you got to start somewhere, I guess. So let's try this out. You know what? That yellow grid isn't too bad. I'm not sure. You know, even looking at the camera, I was going to say, like, I'm sort of leaning back quite far, like arm's length from it, and it's all right at a glance. So I thought maybe on the camera it would look worse, but no, kind of okay. Actually, well proud of that, you know, not too bad. Although I will say, the grid wasn't the one I was most scared for. It was this next section, the Templar star. So I got me some white scar here and my size 00. Let's see what horrors we can unleash on this poor shield. So actually, I did try. You can kind of see under there, look, I tried to draw a symbol, but it was an absolute mess. So I've just gone over it with some black. I'm going to go over it with another layer when that dries. But I did realise I have got this transfer sheet actually from the Combat Patrol that has got, it's down here somewhere, some teeny tiny crosses on it. There you go. So actually I can just cut one of these off and stick them on. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to cop out and I'm actually just going to transfer one of these like small little white crosses on. Oh my god, right, that's it. That's all of the painting done for the model. Torso, head, arms, yeah, all the details. I'm much happier with this little shield. Yeah, now that it's got the transfer on it, it looks really, really good. I do kind of wish I maybe had picked a bit of a bigger one, but yeah, it's okay. It's just a small little detail. And it's a lot better than I thought it was going to look when I first saw the shield. Like when I saw it, I was like, this is going to be a mess. It's whatever. I kind of cast it aside as like, I can't do this stuff yet, but I'm actually quite happy with it. So that's all the details done. The final thing. I keep saying this like we're almost done, but there's always more. It's just the base. It's not going to be anything too complicated. There's some rocks that are going to be Eshin Grey with maybe a little bit of a highlight of Celeste, what I always do. There's a Orc skull on there, which I'm just going to do Skeleton Horde. And then for the actual base, we're just going to do what we've done across all of our Templars, which is that sort of like muddy, swampy look. So we're just going to chuck sterling mud all over. And then maybe put some like grass or some bushes down on it. Oh, and here he is in all of his glory. Da -da 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 -da. Oh my god, look at this model. Oh, I feel like I say every time, like, this is my new favourite, but look at this. How could this be anything but the best model I've ever seen in my life? This is so cool. I mean, there's just so... Oh, I'm speechless. This is incredible. This has lived up to the hype and then some. Like, this is such a... this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. These two massive melee weapons, like the glowing sword, like the skull head, like, oh wow, I absolutely love this. Incredible. Yeah, I couldn't be happy with this. Oh my god, there's been a bit of a journey trying to get this done. It's been a bit of a long one, but it's been so rewarding. I love this so much. Oh my god, there's so much to talk about as well. So like, we start at the top with the painting. Yeah, so our goal for this model was to improve on like dry brushing and some cloth, which is kind of funny because half the cloth, now that I built it, is covered. So like, you can't see his chest. You can barely see like the cloth tabard down the middle, and even the back one is covered up by this like gun pouch. So that's quite funny. We could definitely go over the dry brushing. So there was definitely way too much on the brush when I did this trophy at the top. It's way too like retributory, and it's really easy to see now when you compare it to the top of the hammer. Like they were both Retributor gold, and I highlighted them both with a dry brush of Liberator. And it's just, yeah, this one is like so vastly different because there was just a bit too much on it. And then the tassels next to them, they're okay. I feel like the dry brushing on the back and the highlights are not too bad. The front is a little bit flat, but definitely room for improvement there. But no, I love the trophy. I mentioned it during the building, but I love the motion of this model, like how he's like running forward. And I think the tassels in the back on the trophy sort of like flowing one direction, and like the purity seal on his leg down there and the tabard, like it all adds to this image of his just like running forward, which is just so cool. I absolutely love it. And then yeah, moving down, I was a little bit hesitant with the shoulders when I saw they were all black and just white. I was like, Maybe we can make the trim red or something to add some colour to him, but I actually think it fits in really well with the highlights, the silver and the white. I'm actually really happy with the white, you know, it's really clean. The highlights on it aren't too bad, like with the Corax base and the white scar on top, it definitely adds some like depth to it. Yeah, I definitely think it's been an improvement. Like I'm real happy with the white shoulder pads. They look really cool. And the head, yeah, the head was my favourite part. Like when I saw the model, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. It's a big, huge like skull helmet. It's so different to the normal like Space Marine heads or like normal faces. And it's definitely, yeah, this little like bone head in the middle of this huge black like abyss of armour. I absolutely love it. But I am really happy with the eyes. As we zoom in, look at that. That's probably better in general. Yeah, the eyes being real clean, like the studs on the face, like all the little details just being like just a bit clean and tidy, and like add to this cool image. Big fan of this skull. It's actually one of my favourite parts of the model, just because it's so like unique and different to anything I've ever done. Like this flaming sword, we moved down a bit, but yeah, I just love it. Like it's such a cool effect, and I think it really complements the black armour of like the Black Templar as well. Like just this big molten hot flaming sword across the middle is really good. My only complaint actually is I feel like it blocks off the bone rib cage. I don't know if maybe I put the arm down too low or what, but I really like the bone rib there. You can see there, the bone and the tabard. It's quite a cool like visual look. And my only issue with the model actually is I feel like this sword, as cool as it is, kind of covers a lot of it. But I guess like I know it's there, and from certain angles you can see it like sneaking through there. It's cool. Then moving down to the tabard, it's kind of funny to say that this is the area what we wanted to work on, and you can't even see it when we move the lights. Oh, there we go. I do think it was a big improvement actually. Like there is some depth to them, some volume. I do think the bottom half is better than the top. Like if you can see, yeah, the Drybrushing was a real big success in that. Like you can see the raised areas are like a lot brighter and red, and the divots are like dark, non-oil, corn red. Definitely looks more volumetric, which is what we were going for. So, class this is a big success. One tiny thing I would have liked to have done with all these purity seals is add some text to them. Get like a little size 00 and try and add like a bit of text to them. But that's something we can do in the future, definitely, to add onto it. And then yeah, the base I kind of spoke about it already, but I just love that there's so much going on. Like I love it's like a little stream with like some Black Templar armor bits falling into it, like it's a battlefield, and like he's jumping over like some remains of a fallen brother, and like the grass going up the rock. Really cool. But yeah, overall, just couldn't be happy with this. This is like, this was a blast. It was so much fun to do. It's such a cool looking model, and it's yeah, easily my favourite model I've ever done. So I guess we get to add this new extra section into the videos called, I guess, the army update. As we're progressing towards 1,000 points, we can, at the end of every video, just sort of slot in our new models. So we'll take the Execrator and just put them right there. And there we go. We can sort of tot up the points. I guess I can put them on the screen somewhere, because we've got the Crusader squad, which I think is like 150. The Impulsor's like 90. I can't remember how much the Intercessors and the Marshal is, but we'll add them all on. We'll put them on screen somewhere. So we've got our army so far in this little annex unit, the Combat Patrol. I'm sure actually as well we can add. Move this to the side. I wonder if we can fit the box for the Execrator in there as well. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Cool. So as we build up the army, at the end of each episode, we'll add them into here and tot up the points. Pay no attention to these Intercessors back here. I'm just working on them in my spare time, and these are all the parts. There we go. The Black Templar Execrator, done and dusted, and my god, what a model. That was so cool. Yeah. One of the most incredible looking models I've ever seen. Like Black Templar to 10. Like all the cool like dark black armor, like the religious heraldry of like the big mace and the trophy and the tabards, and I love the bone head as well. Like I keep mentioning it, but like it was just such a cool different thing compared to the non-white Space Marine helmets. I loved it. Such a big fan. And our army's probably a little starting to flush out now. Like I know I've only added one model so far, but putting them all in that little box, seeing them together, like yeah, we're getting there. But yeah, that was so fun, and it was really satisfying actually setting a goal again of like, okay, I want to get better at Drybrushing, and I want to like make strides in that, and I feel like I definitely did. I think I got like some real improvements in my Drybrushing and my highlights. Obviously, there's like so much more to go. Like there's so much more improvements to be made, but it's kind of nice to be like, this is the one focus I want to improve on, and other stuff is fine or whatever, and try not to juggle too much, or just taking it a bit easier, you know, because like I said, I feel like the last two models I just sort of either did for the sake of doing them or didn't really have like a goal in mind, so it's good to get like back on a learning track. Speaking of the track and where we're going to go from here, either the Crusade Ancient or the Combat Patrol. I kind of want to do the Combat Patrol if it turns up in time. It just hasn't arrived yet, it's the only issue. But if it's here, I kind of want to do that, because that was really cool. It was awesome to do one really detailed, interesting model, but I feel like the past 3 videos have been all of that. So I kind of want a bit of a palette cleanser, kind of bust out like some infantry, you know, like maybe a Sword Brother or a Blade Guard veteran or something a little bit different. Just like a smaller scale thing would be cool. But it will definitely be carrying on this like Oath to Army, Crusade to 1,000 points, whatever I call it, I'm not sure. building up that army. I'm really, really looking forward to that in the next coming like months, to see like that box grow out to be this huge force. Because even just recording that new section back there was really fun to see it all like laid out. Like, oh look, this many points in this, and having like a goal is like super fun. So yeah, I'm keen for that. And if you're keen for that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you get all the future updates of the new videos, and drop a like and subscribe, and tune in next time. Thank you for watching.